Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MoPod, brought to you by MoDate, where we discuss everything Mo, from modern orthodoxy to my opinions and more. I'm your host, Evan Harris, and we have a great guest for you today. Let's get to it. Today, we're sitting down with Rina Jacobs and Hillel Schoenfeld. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Of course. So, for whoever doesn't know, is living under a rock, is not on social media, Rina and Hillel recently got engaged. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
And that makes them the first ever couple from MoDate to get engaged. So before we really get started, first I want to shout out your connectors, Lauren and Hillel. Kudos to them for actually like setting the text and going through the process and making sure things made it past the first round. So big shout out to them. And now before we get into like the whole MoDate aspect of it, just talk about like where you're from, what do you do, what's the deal?
Yeah, I should start.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm from Chicago. I moved to New York for college and stayed, and I work for Saks now on their website. I'm living on the Upper West Side. Yeah, that's like short version.
Stacks on Fifth or off Fifth?
Saks on, well, it's called technically just Saks. Like
Okay.
the website is just Saks. So
Gotcha. Okay, very interesting.
And my name is Hillel, born and raised in LA. Went to ULA, did all that stuff. Moved to New York after Israel. Live on the Upper West Side now, and now I would do commercial real estate for a team in Brooklyn, but my team focuses on the Bronx. So if anyone has any commercial real estate, a quick little plug, hit me up. So I do that now, and I really enjoy it.
Got it. Okay, great. And so even though you're both out of towners, you didn't know each other beforehand?
right.
We knew, we have a lot of mutual friends from camp, from sleepaway camp.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But we
we didn't
didn't
know
really know who
personally.
each other
No.
were.
Yes.
Got it. That was more of me just ripping on you guys, but that's fine. Okay, so can you tell us the story of how you met? Like how is the texting going down? What's the story there?
Yeah, so it was like one of the earlier versions of MoDate back when like connectors would text their connectees or whatever, or MoDaters.
Modators? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, my Lauren texted me saying you got matched with this guy. His connector reached out to me, want to go out with him. And it felt very like just a friend setting you up. So I was like, yeah, sure. That was from my end.
Yeah. I
And
mean, I am very similar. My connector Hillel. He's I think a two-time MoDate
connector of the month.
connector
Yeah.
of the month. So big shout out to him and congrats. Hopefully, many more awards to come. But yeah, he texted me. Said, "Do you know her from camp?" I'm like, "I actually don't." So he sent me the bio or whatever the little paragraph about her and some pictures. I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" Like you only know if you don't go out with them. So
Mhm.
we went out, we had a great time, and the rest is history.
All right, great. And so this is a more personal question, but were either of you on any other dating apps or anything like that at the time?
Yeah, I was on Hinge. That's
Yeah,
it.
I was on Hinge and JSwipe, but just JSwipe wasn't it's weird stuff going on. So I mostly Hinge, yeah.
Got it. And did the fact that the suggestion came from MoDate, like, do you think that helped you say yes, helped you actually go on a date as opposed to, let's say, it came from Hinge?
I don't think it made much of a difference because it wasn't like I was logging onto an app or anything. It was literally like a friend texting me. So it didn't feel like it was through anything.
Yeah. Did it change your judgment at all of like whether, let's say, Lauren knew both of you or it kind of felt the same regardless?
What do you mean?
Meaning like Lauren knew Rina and Hillel knew Hillel, but Hillel didn't know Rina and Lauren didn't know Hillel. So did that change anything about like the feeling behind the setup or not really?
I don't think so. I feel like anytime, well, not every time, but I feel like there are times when a friend will like hear of somebody and try to set you up with someone without knowing much about them.
Hmm.
So I didn't think it was anything.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt different than Hinge or anything because like I didn't it's not
Also,
us.
because what's different than Hinge is that everyone's like, for the most part, modern Orthodox. So it's not like you have to worry about like Hinge people when it's like it says they're Jewish, but like it's Jewish.
Yeah, for sure.
Not even that. It's just like you said, like it's more like or you said it's more like a friend setting up. It's not like Hinge where you have to, like, match and then text and then this and that. It's like more like, hey, like I'm a friend for you, and I think it matched on this website or MoDate. And do you want to go out there? So it's I think it's a lot easier, and it's like I also knew who Lauren was before, like
Oh,
in
you did?
camp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we knew who each other were. We weren't friends or anything. Now we're obviously friends. But it definitely feels different than Hinge or any other platform. It's also easier. I felt so. Yeah.
Also, because the connections are kind of like the matches are made for you. It's not like you say yes or no. I mean, you do say yes or no to a person in the end, but like the match, like it sets you up with someone automatically.
Right.
For sure. So something interesting is obviously, in that version you're talking about is a lot more personal than the MoDate that we have now. And it was kind of, and I know Rina, you're a connector. Hill, I don't know if you're involved at all or have seen the website in however long, but
I'm not. I just get the matches.
okay, yeah. So
Not
basically,
anymore.
Not anymore.
But
Yes. It's
yeah.
mid-
Yeah. So basically, we had to I guess, forfeit some of the personal aspects of MoDate for more efficiency in the sense that, connectors, you guys had great connectors who were willing to text each other and go through that whole process. For the most part, a lot of those matches, never happened. What would have happened if Hill never texted Lauren? We don't know.
Right.
So because of that, we've lost like a little bit of the personal touch with the current version of MoDate, and connectors have less involvement, I would say, which makes it a little bit more like a Hinge, even though, like you said, it's more, that the people that you're matching with are right for you religiously, at least.
right.
So the thing we have to work on now, I mean, obviously, we got our first success. People always ask me, is MoDate successful? And they just want to know about the rings. And so we got our first championship ring. So that's great.
Ooh.
Same,
And
same thing as basketball teams. You don't care about
exactly.
the regular season. You want championships.
Yeah, exactly. So we got our first championship. The banner's hanging. Didn't have to ring chase or anything like that. So that's good. And so now it's all about like improving the system, figuring out how to merge the two worlds together of like efficiency, but also personal. So it doesn't just feel like you're on JSwipe or Hinge. But anyway, so that's something we're definitely working on now. And like always, if anyone has any ideas or anyone knows anyone in the tech world who's passionate about this that wants to get involved, because we're obviously all working this part-time, so it's a
Yeah.
limited thing. So if anyone knows anyone, that'd be great. But also, I just want to shout out Menachem Losev. I don't know if you guys ever met him or even like know his name, but he's the CTO, built the algorithm. So the reason that
Yeah.
the match was created was because of him. So
Yeah, big shout out to him.
Thank you.
yes. Anyway, so when you were dating, right, and the fact that it was through MoDate, is that something that came up like in conversation? Because a lot of people didn't really know what MoDate was. I mean, maybe on the other pro side they did, but like at the beginning stages, at least, like, we didn't even have the website yet. It was very like bare bones. So what was those conversations like?
I remember on our first date, like a large portion of it was me explaining what MoDate was and like how we got matched and everything. Cause I don't like he wasn't really like involved with it at all. Whereas like I was a connector for people. So I knew kind of like how the back ends work a little bit. So I was just like kind of explaining it and explaining how we matched in the first place. So it was definitely a topic of discussion.
Or even like when we go, like if we go away or for extra ball, we'll eat out meals. Like people who don't know, it's like, oh, how'd you guys match? And I'll be like, MoDate, and they'll be like, what's that? And then she'll take over to explain it because I have no idea how it works. I just know we matched. So we were definitely spreading the word, and spreading. If people always ask, obviously, everyone wants to know how you guys met, right? Because it's
Yeah.
Hinge, whatever it is, MoDate set up. So when we say MoDate, either like, oh my god, that's so funny, like I know that, or it's like, what is that? And then
And it goes into a whole
yeah,
discussion.
it's like a whole deep dive, like crazy discussion, but it's good.
For
Unless it's
sure.
with my grandparents' friends or something, then I'm just like friends set us up.
Yeah,
like,
because
keeping it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Definitely don't need to worry about that, worry about
Yeah.
lying there. So Hill specific question. I'm wondering, so obviously a huge problem that we have that any shotgun has, whatever, is finding guys. And there's clearly this idea of a shit-off crisis, whatever that means, whether it exists, not for this podcast, but there is definitely a discrepancy in the number of girls on MoDate, for example, compared to the number of guys. And also, Rena's a connector, you're not a connector, not to throw you under the bus or anything, but like, why do you think that guys are so much more hesitant to like get involved in this dating game compared to girls?
Well, I don't know.
Can I answer?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But I feel like guys get set up all the time. Like they don't need this.
Okay, so why do you think that is? Like, how did that start? Like, what do you think the source of that is?
There's just more. I feel like there's more guys than girls here. No?
Opposite. You mean more girls than guys?
Yeah. Yes. That is what I meant.
But how's that? Like, do you think number wise there actually just are more girls than guys? Like numbers?
No, but I think probably girls want someone either like, or younger girls would want to get married or start dating like right away, and guys might want to wait longer. So maybe there's just less of an option or less of a pool to pick from. I don't know.
Okay, so pretend you were making a commercial for MoDate. Not saying that's something you have to do. That's not in the budget right now, but pretend you were doing that and you were trying to attract specifically, well, you could do both versions, everyone and then just specifically guys. Like, what would you say and like how would you do it?
For guys, I would say like you literally have to do nothing. Like literally nothing. Like I'm saying like to sign up and to be on I'm saying for a guy to be on MoDate, you don't have to do anything. Just fill out the whatever it is, like survey or whatever, and you don't have like there's no effort really.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just
Good pitch.
it's not you know?
Yeah, I mean, I
Like,
don't.
you don't really have to do anything. Matches
Yeah.
just come to you.
You just gotta fill it out and then say yes or no. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. No one knows the answer to why there's always more girls than guys in these things. Like even Hinge, I think, or J Type has the same issue. I think most dating platforms have that issue. I'm not sure why. Maybe guys are just super lazy and just like Rina said, there's a lot more girls in the pool than the guys. Like maybe they're just like, oh, I'll finally, I'll get someone eventually, or they're not ready to get married yet at 24 to 27. Maybe they want to wait till they're 30 or 29, whatever it is. So I mean, a lot of girls want to get married younger, and some of the guys on the west side or wherever they are might not be ready to get married. So maybe you think there's a lot more guys in the pool, but it's actually a lot smaller than people think because
they're not serious.
They're not serious about it, and they just want to mess around still, which is totally fine. I'm just saying maybe that's why it seems like a lot more guys, but maybe it's actually a lot smaller than everyone thinks because girls are, I think, ready to get married than most guys are.
Okay. Good answers.
That's what I was trying to say too. But I feel like I didn't explain it well.
Yeah, no.
I got you.
There are a lot of reasons it's hard to pinpoint like exactly what it is or how it started. But
that's one of my opinions.
No, I totally agree. And I think that it would be nice to, somehow change that trend and figure out how to get more guys on the platform and just get more guys in general so that things are more even. I mean, one thing we do is that we send the suggestions to guys and girls at the same time on the website, which is, I mean, not something that was necessarily possible on the first version because whoever did it, did it. But now we have, guys and girls getting the thing at the same time. So at least it's not like, because if you just sent the guys first, it could seem like guys are getting a lot more suggestions just because it never reaches the girl. But now it's like at least girls know that they're still generating matches.
Sometimes it's just better to, like it's good to know that you're still getting options even if like the guy won't say yes. Like it's good to know that like it's going through the system for everyone.
For sure. Some people actually I think prefer just to see like the yeses, but ultimately that there's an imbalance in scales there and you can never please everyone. So it is what it is.
There's always gonna be people complaining or it's gonna happen. So nothing you can do about it.
For sure. So let's veer off. So you're both from out of town, but now you live on the Upper West Side. I
Yeah.
don't know how long you lived here for, Hillel, but I mean, Rena and I are the same age, so probably like a similar amount of time. But what are your experiences living on the Upper West Side? Like, do you think those who don't live here should do their best to live here if they're single? What do you think about it for when you get married? Are you going to live here?
Well, we're either gonna stay here or the east side for a little bit first after we get married, but I
LA,
think,
LA.
well, that's like whatever later on discussion. But I think whether you're like a young married couple or single, I think there's space for everyone on the west side and like a community for everyone. And it's not like two separate communities, it's like everyone in the same community. Like I think it's a great place for single people and young couples. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the West Side probably not 8, 9 years now.
Mhm.
So I started off as like the young one where like I was too young to date, and then as I was getting older, it's like the girls were getting like 23, 24. I was like 26, 27. So obviously it became a lot like the pool became bigger. But yeah, I think the West Side is a great place. There's a lot of um, different options of shows to go to, a lot of different speeds to go at.
It's also always changing. Like even when I lived here before COVID, it's so different how it is now than how it was then. Like the community too is also different. I feel like, well, maybe because like I was the younger one there now, and now there's people younger than like me here. But like every year it feels a little bit different, which is nice because if it's the same thing all the time, it's boring.
Yeah, for sure. And Hill, what were like the major changes you saw from like your early days here compared to now?
Um, well, I don't know. I feel like I mean, early days, the show that everyone goes to is always packed, and it still is. Obviously, it took a couple years to regrow since COVID. But majority, I mean, honestly, it's very similar. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot more young married couples up here now than there were when I was, when I first started off on the West Side. The West, when I was first starting off, it was a lot. It was like everyone was single. Like if you're a married couple, like you moved out of the area or like moved to the East Side or Queens or wherever it was, or Teaneck, or Riverdale. But now it's a lot. There are a lot of young couples, which is fine because then they have meals where they invite both sides who are singles, like they're her friends and the guy's friends, and then you can make matches that way also. But that's all. It's pretty much the same. Majority is just a bunch of single people living up here, and it's a good time.
Yeah, and also to go back to your whole out of towner thing, I think that's actually been beneficial for both of us because as an out of towner, you don't have a house to go back to if you don't have plans. So it kind of like forces you to always make plans and always have something to do so that you're not just like sitting around by yourself. So I think it's
we're not bashing in towners.
No, but it's just
it's definitely nice to have
that would be so nice to
a
have
home to go to when you don't have plans. But it's also nice what she said. You have to be active and social on the West Side, or else you just go home every weekend, and that gets you nowhere. But that's yeah, I agree with you.
You can bash whoever you want. It's fine. I mean, it's
Okay,
just
fine.
it just helps ratings.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so in terms of, I guess, West Side dating, all that, what do you think is obviously the West Side is a great place if you're single and looking to date, like compared to, I don't anywhere, because like this is where like the hub is
right.
here, and maybe like Israel are like the two hubs for that. But what do you think is missing? Like, what did you feel when you guys were single was missing that the West Side really could have used?
I would probably say more like single events from the shows. I know they have a lot of, they obviously want to attract their young couples and raise money for that. Like raise money is the young couples. A lot of singles aren't going to give membership or for a gala, whatever it is. Yeah, or it doesn't have to be through shows. It could be any organization or just people anywhere where people can meet each other and.
Yeah, I would say like not through shows, but maybe like
Yeah.
not that shows aren't cool, but like cool organizations like doing things like MoDate doing cool events and stuff like that. Like that
Yeah,
makes
for
it
sure.
not like I feel like if it's like, oh, Shoal like Young Israel singles event or like any
Oh, the
Shoal
name
singles
dropping.
event, like
Can we edit that name drop thing?
No, name drops are good. I
it
mean,
doesn't sound like like not that it doesn't sound cool. It doesn't sound like, oh yeah, that sounds fun. Let's all go. But like, oh, like sushi making class from like
Right,
this type
exactly.
thing, like, and it happens to be a singles event. That sounds fun.
I think single events get a bad rep. I feel like it's very like, oh, you're going to that single event, like I'm not going to that. I'm
Like
not
you have
like
to
that's
drown
so
it with an activity.
it's not cool enough. But at the end of the day, you're trying to meet someone, you're trying to be with forever, and you just gotta be social and be active and just stop. Like, don't say. I always my thing is like, don't say no to anything. Like just say yes and like just go out and like if you don't find someone, at least you had fun. So
Yeah.
and if you don't have fun, at least you make some friends at the end of the day. So
Or like a fun night out with your friends.
yeah,
Going to one of those things.
yeah. I mean, even if it's not fun, those are the things you tell stories about. Like
Exactly.
yeah,
so that's just a fun memory to have. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think that one thing we tried to do, I mean, we haven't had an event since the fall, I think. But one thing that we tried to do was like we never called them singles events. And even when we had them at shuls, like we didn't try to call it like a single we had at the Young Israel. And like I fought pretty hard to like not call it a singles event. I think like one of the forums ended up calling it a singles event, and then one of the forums didn't. There was like a whole thing. But then like we did it at the Karlbach Shul. We also did tempura. And so yeah, I mean it's definitely hard to throw an event. And sometimes it feels like, you know, if you don't hear about couples getting married from that event, you're like, oh wow, I spent a lot of time doing that and like nothing really came out of it. But it like it's important. And I think that it, you know, increases the circles. And so it's definitely a thing that people shouldn't be so like scared to go to.
yeah. But I was gonna say like I think I was just saying what Rina said. If it's an event there, it's a lot better. Like Friday night dinners are nice, but like at the end of the day, you're gonna talk to either your friends or people at your table, and like it's not that much socializing. If it's pizza making or sushi making or whatever it is,
And you're like broken up into
yeah,
groups
like
or
you make
whatever.
groups for them. And at the next MoDate event, if you want us to be there, we'll sign autographs, do a whole photo shoot. We'll get the numbers up.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean that's great. I mean, definitely, I'm hoping you guys get the numbers out. I mean, the Instagram post, you know, was definitely our most liked post. Not no surprise there,
Yeah.
but that was absolutely not shocking at all. So when you guys realized, I mean, this is more a question for Rina, I guess, because you know, I mean, as you both know, Lauren is very involved with MoDate
Yeah.
and coming up with ideas and also like hearing my ideas. And so when you realized that you would be the first MoDate couple, what were your thoughts there? Were you a little nervous about like what ideas I would have to promote that or anything
Um,
along those lines?
Honestly, it wasn't much of a thought at first. Like, I don't think of us as like, I mean, we are like a Mo date couple, but like, that's not like the first thing I think of when I think of us.
I mean, that shouldn't be. That's good.
But I guess when I was told that like you were gonna want us on the podcast and you're gonna like, and or like we were texting, you're like you're gonna have to send pictures or something like that. Then I was like, I wasn't nervous. I was just like, okay, like everyone's gonna know about this, which isn't a problem. But
Yeah, we were at a meal last week. I'm not gonna say any names, but she found out that we were.
oh yeah,
This is before we got engaged. The shot was before we got engaged.
Yeah,
And she found out that we were the Mo Day couple, and she like lost her mind. She, oh my god, it was saying celebrities like, and we walked her home because she lives down the block from us or from my apartment. And she's like, I can't believe I'm walking home with the Mo Day couple. I'm like, it's not that serious, but like I appreciate it. It was cool. So
Yeah.
it's at that moment I'm like, okay, this is actually a bigger deal than I thought, but it's pretty cool. So I'll take it.
right. It was
Yeah.
definitely weird, like not a random person, but someone who like we weren't like best friends with, like knowing of us from this.
Yeah, PSA to all those out there, if you're listening to this podcast or seeing any posts, you know, we don't want any paparazzi or anything like that for Rina and Hillel, you know, treat them.
Or that I wouldn't mind paparazzi. I think that sounds fun. But
treat them like the normal people they are. And
No, I'm saying we definitely got more hype than I guess a normal couple would have. Because a lot of people that normally wouldn't know we got engaged know we
right.
got know we
Or
got
like
engaged.
people on the west side know what Mo date is. So it's like like you said, people ask what the statistics are, what the success rate is. And so when people ask, it's like, oh, there's a couple who's about to get engaged on it. And then they're like, oh, you're that couple. So like,
Right.
that's why it's like,
So like we'll forever
something.
go down in the history books, but so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hopefully it's more cool than it is annoying. And so
No, it's
it's
definitely
not
been
annoying.
cool. Yeah,
It's not annoying at all.
it's
Okay.
also very funny to us. So it's all in good fun.
very good, very good. So what would you say to someone who, you know, you're at this meal, they're hearing you're the first MoDate couple, you just got engaged, they're all excited, and then you ask them if they're single, they say yes, and you ask them, are you on MoDate? And they say no, and you ask why, and they say, I don't want to do MoDate. What would you say to that person?
I'd say that's stupid. Literally, look at us.
I was like, why not? I mean, I'm not sure how it works now.
There's no point in not doing it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the way it is now, even though it's less connector focused, like texting back and forth, because, well, another thing that you guys don't know about, but what happens is when you match with someone on MoDate now, you get their phone number via text and you become inactive. Your profile becomes inactive. So you can't get any more matches. So it's also another huge differentiator from other dating apps, whereas like you're not just swiping like endlessly. Once you match with someone, like that means like if you want to end that match, like you gotta notify that person. So even though it's not like, you know, you'll have Lauren and Hillel like telling you like, hey, like you should reach out or whatever it is, like at the same time, at least it's definitely more serious than a Hinge, let's say.
Right. Because it makes you like focus on one person or like one person at a time.
Exactly. Okay, so moving on to a segment we do here called the MoPod lightning round. I'm just gonna fire off some quick questions. You can tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. What color are zebras?
Black and white.
Well, black and white, but are we only picking one color?
Oh, it's one.
What color are zebras?
Black and white.
Okay. Do you go by Hina or Hillel?
Neither.
Do you have a name that combines both your names?
No.
No, we don't.
Okay.
Just R and H.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Hillel, do you like Chicago?
Ooh.
He's more of a Chicagoan than I am.
The people, yes.
The place.
Nah.
No, that's so not true. But
Okay.
It's a fun city, yes, but I have other cities over that.
Okay, good answer. What is the best date place in New York City?
Wow. What number date?
Number 3.
Not Dave and Buster's.
oh yeah, don't ever go to Dave and Buster's.
Wow, it's a good. I like the.
The first.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first bar. Obviously, the first one's always a bar.
Or like a fun bar, like there's an ice cream bar on the east side. That one's cool.
Or like always going, for dinner is always nice. Tempura is like a nice vibe on Saturday night.
Like the new mini golf place, Swingers.
Oh yeah,
That's
Swingers.
really cool too.
Okay.
Shout out to Swingers. Great time there.
Okay, good to know. What is your favorite fruit?
Strawberry.
I was gonna say strawberries too, actually.
Oh wow, that's so cute. What is the most underrated letter of the alphabet?
Q.
I was gonna say that.
Really?
But that's obvious.
But just the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the least necessary of these 3 items? Gloves, scarf, hat.
Scarf.
Gloves.
Really? Okay, I'm team scarf. Anyway, thank you, Rina and Hillel, for coming on the MoPod. Anything else you want our listeners to know before we sign off?
Sign up for MoDate if you're not on it.
Yeah, there's literally 0 reasons not to. Like you said, you never know when or who you'll meet, and that could be the one. So,
all right, thanks guys. Mazel tov.
thank you.